Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast. Well, hello, Ken. Fancy meeting you here in the dining room.
Well, hello. What's your name? You look beautiful.
Oh, why, thank you.
Can we go out sometime? I'm free.
Oh, well, that's nice.
No, I'm not free. I'm cheap.
So we're staying home, you
Okay.
say. Okay.
Okay. But we digress.
Do we, though?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm really excited about this episode. But before we get to it, I did want to mention that because of the time of year and all of that, we're going to be getting back to weekly episodes. We kind of slowed down in the summertime, and so I'm very excited about bringing even more episodes to our listeners. And so I just want to throw out a call to if there's folks that are out there listening that think, hey, I have something I want to share. I have something that would benefit listeners and parents from all over Idaho.
Right.
Let us know, because we might want to have you on. We can do Zoom interviews. So if you're in a different part of Idaho, we can definitely, that's not going to stop us. And, you know, I'm really excited about the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. And if you're in a different part of Idaho that's really beautiful and has some place for us to stay.
Wait,
No,
are
no.
you saying road trip?
Yeah, possibly.
Have Mike's will travel.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just for our listeners. We've had an uptick on listenership.
Yeah.
Would
Thanks for
love.
enunciating.
Oh,
Uptick on our listenership.
It
Yeah.
was very wordy.
It was very scary.
It was very wordy.
Could have gone bad quickly.
Yeah, I made sure to say that P.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, but yeah, we have just a quick reminder that if you listen to, make sure to follow the Resilient Parenting Podcast, because then you'll get updates on when new ones come out.
Share it.
But also share it. And when you listen, though, make sure that you put in, they have the stars you can click on.
Yeah.
You can leave a review. The more that we have movement on that, the more that it will get out there for new people. So we really need your hands on.
Please.
Please. So you want to talk about what we're going to do today?
Well, I think we'll talk about it as soon as we do this little musical intro.
Okay.
That little thing. And we'll talk with our special guest coming up next. And today we're sitting and chatting with Sharon Baber. Shari does a lot of things. She's been doing a lot of things. And for one thing, she does a lot for other people of color. And how's the best to set this up, Shari, as far as what you do? We want to talk about Brown Like Me and some other things you do.
Well, I guess the way I started is I moved here 30 some odd years ago, and I sat out looking for a Black community in Boise, and there wasn't one. And so I was like, oh my God, where have I moved? And then I quickly found out that it wasn't that there wasn't a Black community. So it was kind of a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that Black people live everywhere. The curse was you got to be intentional to find us and to spend time together. And so that's pretty much what I set out to do.
Should we establish right off the bat that you are Black?
I am.
Just wondering, because people listening going,
yeah.
Wait, why?
Why is she working? Well, as an African-American woman, I moved here to open a textured hair salon. because I found out there wasn't any here, and I'm a cosmetology instructor by trade, and so I could stay where I moved from and fight for a clientele, or I could move to Boise, Idaho, and trailblaze because there wasn't anything like what I do here. So I came here as a black hairstylist to serve the textured hair community.
Wow.
Yeah. And you've been doing quite well with that, too.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've trained like probably 25 to 30 other stylists to do what I do, and now they have their own salon that specializes in textured
sharing
hair.
the love.
Yeah.
So you started Brown Like Me.
I did.
Can you share with our listeners all about your program?
Absolutely. So, unbeknownst to me, Brown Like Me started the moment I landed in this town. I just didn't organize it until 2018. But what I found when I moved here was something I was totally unaware of, and that is the fact that there are a lot of black and brown children adopted into white homes. And so they start bringing their children in to get their hair done.
Okay.
So that's how all of this started, is having white parents bring their black children in to get their hair done. And conversations grew, you know, when you go to the hairdresser, you talk about all kinds of stuff. We're
that's the place
hairists.
to talk.
Yeah. But greater than that, I built relationships with the kids. I noticed early on that kids as young as 2 and 3 years old wouldn't want to leave when they were done getting their hair done. And that puzzled me. Like, I'm a stranger, but to them, I wasn't a stranger. To them, I looked like them.
Right.
And there was a connection that I didn't realize, and they probably didn't either. But soon as they started being able to verbalize things and communicate things, over the years, we built this relationship. And what actually started Brown Like Me was a little girl I had been working on for, I don't know, probably 6 years. She was about 10 or 12 at this time, and she was getting her hair done. She said, "Miss Shari, I'm going to a birthday party." I said, "That's great, girl. Birthday parties are so fun." And then she looked a little puzzled in the mirror. I'm standing behind her doing her hair. And she looked in the mirror, looked up in the mirror at me, and she said, "Miss Shari, I'm the only brown girl at all the birthday parties." And I've heard that more than once. I'm the only brown girl in my class. I'm the only brown boy on the basketball team. Like, I have heard this over the years. And so I've always tried to follow that comment with something positive, like God made you special and you're rare and you're unique, you know, trying to build up their self-worth and self-esteem. And this little girl stopped talking and turned around and looked me directly in my face. And she said, "Miss Shari, I'm the only brown girl at my own birthday party."
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh, okay.
And real quickly, that took me to a place where I felt like, what if somebody dropped me down in China? Nobody looked like me. Nobody understood me. Nobody understood my culture or my heritage, and I didn't understand theirs. And then it came to me, I have a 4,000 base clientele. I could make a difference in this kid's life. And so Brown Like Me started with me wanting to have birthday parties once a week so all the little brown kids could get together and see each other for birthday parties. So
I love that. So tell us more. This is so beautiful.
The mom who was the mother of that child, we've been friends for a while, and she said, "Shari, we should do that. You should do that." And I said, you know, I've always wanted to start something called Brown Like Me. And what happened was kids would come back and say, "Miss Shari, I went away to college," and all the black kids was talking about going home for Thanksgiving and having soul food. And I would back out of the conversation because I didn't even know what soul food was. And I had started inviting kids to my kids' birthday party, inviting them to my house for Thanksgiving or for Kwanzaa and all the things. But now my kids are grown and they're not trying to play with me anymore. So, I thought to myself, if I'm going to start an organization called Brown Like Me. But here's the truth. I said I don't have the qualifications to start a nonprofit. And in my head, God said to me, "You can do anything."
Oh, yes, you can.
Anything. You can do all things. And so I sat out to start Brown Like Me. And our very first meeting, we had probably 30 kids at our very first meeting. We just put it out on social media. And then a lot of my clients, we set it out about 4 months. And every time a kid would get their hair done and the parents would make an appointment, I'd tell them, I'm kicking off Brown Like Me. I'm kicking off Brown Like Me. And so at our very first meeting, we had a bunch of kids, and this little 5-year-old girl, we were throwing a beach ball, that little game you do to get to know each other. Icebreaker, that's what they call it.
Okay.
So we had took a beach ball and wrote all these questions. And you throw the beach ball, and somebody would catch it and read the question and then answer it.
Right.
And so a little girl, she was probably 5. I don't think she could read yet. She caught the ball, and there was a 13 or 14-year-old girl standing next to her. The little girl caught the ball, and the 14-year-old kneeled down and read question to her. And it was something about, name something that you're grateful for. And the little girl looked around the circle, and she said, I'm grateful for all of you because you're my family that looks like me.
Oh.
We knew we were off to a good
Yes,
start. And
that's
that's
so
how Brown Like Me
powerful.
started. And so now I teach them all things African American culture, how to cook soul food. We have a whole cookbook. I teach them how to fry chicken and make collard greens and sweet potato pie and gumbo and all the fun things. That's part of our program is teaching traditional African American food.
Can we come eat?
That's our biggest meeting. When
I
people
was
find out
waiting.
we're doing the cooking class, it's the fullest class we have.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And so, but in that, it grew to so much more. We grew in a way that we advocate for the kids, and we teach parents how to be allies for their kids, because the parents now have a group of parents who are also raising Black children. So now that's a village,
Right.
because if you're not raising a Black child, and you go to your friend and say, my kid got called the N-word, you don't know what to say. But a mother whose child is 16 and has already been there
Right.
knows how to help you walk through that. We know how to help you walk through that. And so it's become more than just, and then I had a Black parent who said, my kid is Black and he needs some friends. Can we come too? Of course. And then I had other parents say, well, we got 2 white kids and 2 Black kids. Can my white kids come too? Of course.
So
of course.
important.
So at first people thought, you're so racist. You built this program just for Black and brown people. That is not true. The program is for everyone. But we do want you to understand that we are focusing on African American
Right.
culture, history, and education because, number one, it's not allowed in the schools. It's not just readily available. We as Black people have to make it intentional, which is
Right.
why I started the Soul Food Festival. You have to be intentional, which is not a bad thing, but it is a real thing.
Right,
And it's
right.
because Black people live everywhere. There's not a Black side of town like there is in a lot of other cities. So Brown Like Me was born that way, but it has expanded in so many ways. We had the opportunity to take 10 teenagers to Washington, D.C.
Oh, really?
in 2023 to teach them how their voices mattered in government.
Oh,
wow.
A lot of people of color don't vote. And I was one of those people, just to be fully transparent, because I didn't see myself in government before Obama. I didn't see how voting really registered to me. We didn't study government in school. And so one of the things that I learned is that it is important and your vote is your voice. And I wanted to catch these teenagers young enough to where they would pique an interest. So in 2023, the mentors at Brown Like Me there was 4 mentors that went. We took 10 teenagers to Washington, D.C. on a close-up tour to teach them how their voices mattered in government.
this is all so amazing. And I know that there's a lot of listeners that are wanting to know, how can I get involved? So is this local in Boise and Canyon County, or do you know if there are locations or chapters in other parts of the state of Idaho?
So currently there isn't any other chapters in the state of Idaho, but we are in conversation with Twin Falls. We are also in conversation with Moscow, Idaho,
Okay.
where the college is. And so right now we're just serving the Treasure Valley, but we do have kids that come all the way from Napa Caldwell, from Mountain Home, and a lot of the surrounding cities that find it important enough to drive their kids to Brown Like Me. It's the second Saturday of every month from 10 to 12. And so as we continue to grow and as we continue to search for funding, it is our desire to start chapters everywhere.
So if they want to find out a little bit more, you can just look up Brown Like Me online.
So our website is brownlikeme.org. Our email address is treasurevalleybrownlikeme@gmail.com, all lowercase. We also have a Facebook page for Brown Like Me and a parent page. But because we deal with children, you have to ask to join the page. I will contact you, ask a couple questions. Sometimes I even invite you to coffee. Because we are a kids program, we like to be very, very careful of who we invite in and what they get to see on our social media.
Well, thank you very much, Sherry. This is just amazing. I mean, I had heard of this program, but I didn't know the depth of it all as you've been talking about.
Yes, and I just want to circle back just really quick for our listeners. So there's a ways to get in touch with you. Let's say that there's someone listening that maybe don't have children but want to be able to help. Is there a way that they can help?
Absolutely. They're on our website, as well as our Facebook page. There is a donate opportunity there. We also can accept donations from PayPal, from the Treasure Valley Brown Like Me at gmail.com. And then, if you look us up under the Secretary of State, there's an address. If you'd like to send a paper check, you just look up Brown Like Me. It has the mailing address and all the things where you can get in touch and help support.
Oh, wow. Such a great, important program. And you started Soul Food Festival too?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, my goodness. You are, I already knew you were amazing, but now I'm just even in awe of you right now.
Yeah. We both are.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Sharon.
everything you do.
Oh, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. So thank you. Thank you so much.
This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.